Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Marvellous Monday. Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are. If you think it's Get Rich Quick, you're in the wrong place. This is the wrong podcast. This is the wrong live for you. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Hope you're all awesome and well. Morning, folks. There you are. Good to see you. Been traveling the last couple of days. Been a bit more difficult to get live when you're trying to catch planes, trains, and automobiles. But back in the studio, back in the office. So back at our regular viewing time, folks. Hope you're well. Hope you're well. A few of the early birds are already there. Justin's in the house. How are you, mate? Good to see you, Chris. He's there too. And someone behind the Facebook veil. Good old Facebook. Thank you. But great to see you, folks. Welcome to the Friday Wealth Coffee Chat. Jason Witten is my name, if you don't already know. Most of you know that, though. However, we do have some, from time to time, some new people popping along. And if you are one of those newbies, then say hello. Give us a shout out. Let us know where you are, what you're up to. And maybe get to know what we do here a little, which is try and sort some fear from fear. Dive into some of the daily minutiae, the daily noise of property investing. Folks, you guys know the drill. This thing's a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time to grow a property portfolio that is giving you the returns, the wealth, the income, the benefits that you require. And along the way, there can be significant amounts of noise. You've got to check in. So that's what we do here in the mornings. Grab a coffee and maybe get our heads right for the day. And part of that is making sure we stay on track, folks. We stay on track for our wealth. Anyway, part of that today, quite interestingly, I'm pretty pumped to talk about this one today, actually. Well, interesting. What is going on out in the world of things that can affect property prices and property values. So there you go. There's got Jason Andrews in there too. Jason, fabulous name. Pretty good, I reckon. That Jason, yep. Jeff's there too. Alison, good to see you, Alison. Louis. Good to have you around as well. Stephen's here. Yeah, mate. Sometimes Facebook or YouTube or one of them works well. You know, it does. Anyway, sometimes the tech is more technical than it should be. But there you go. Good to see you, team. Listen, what's going on? The last few weeks, probably for the most of February, when I've got back into Wealth Coffee Chats, we did a bit of a review and a bit of a touch base, a bit of a deep dive into, overall strategy, tactics, information, goals, whatever. So if you haven't seen those, pop back and have a look. There's some good stuff in there. And March 1, pinching a punch for the first day of the month, folks. I thought we'd sort of check in with what is bubbling away in the marketplace, folks, bubbling away. And there's a couple of interesting headlines. And I always like interesting headlines. You always have to take all of it with a pinch of salt, folks. But somewhere in there is some information that you can, go and then double check and fact check and ask, how does this apply to you and me as property investors? So a couple of headline pieces today I thought we'd check in on as we go along. And you probably already know the answer to what I'm going to ask, but let's say, who knows which country in the world has the most net influx of financial millionaires, which means a net worth of more than 1 million US or more. Which country has taken the cup? Which country, folks? Put it in the chat. What do you reckon? It might be a a bit of a giveaway question, let's be honest, but it's part of what we do here. We ask questions we should know the answer to, and if we don't, then we learn, and if we do, we reinforce some of our understandings of what we do. Who's attracting the wealthiest, the most millionaires in the world to come and live here, live there? Yep. America. Oh, yeah, they're up there, Jeff. They're up there. Well, I'm going to reveal that one in a minute. Let's have a bit of a look. But check this out, folks. Population panic. I love how these love with a tongue in cheek is my word. I love how the media hams it up. Population panic, folks. The truth behind bombshell report as Australia grows to 27 million people 18 years early. Well, I tried to find where they were saying which report said it was 18 years early, but I couldn't find that. They didn't really want to tell me where they were getting their references from. So, you know, who wants to let the truth or the data get in the way of a good damn story? The media doesn't, that's for sure, folks. However, there is some validity to the acceleration of population going on. Now, it's not an all influx, and there's some interesting bits here. However, you know, what is the go here? What should we pay attention to as investors? What's going on? Well, let's just have a look at, yep, Jeff, you got it, mate. The millionaire migration. Adrian, yeah, mate, so good to run into you, man. It was awesome. Yeah, random lucky meeting on the street, but there you go, mate. Thanks for coming along this morning, and a bit of a shout out. Anyone who's out and about, if you're ever in the Gold Coast, let me know. We can catch up, have a coffee. I do a bit of traveling every now and then, so I'd love to connect with a few of you. Hey, just a little aside note. For those who don't know, we're looking to hold a positive summit in June, 3 days in June. We're going to get 10 amazing guest speakers, all of your coaches, all of your property consultants, all of your advisors, all in one room, and hang out for 3 days and really, you know, connect, learn, and reset our energy for property investing and your positive crew, your positive network. So we're going to do that in June, folks. So if you're up for it, if you want to come along and hang out with us for 3 days on the Gold Coast, then yeah, Jeff, we're looking for good speakers, mate. I reckon you'd be awesome. We'll give you a slot, mate. Nice one. All right, let's get on with it. Millionaires, Australia, number one. Australia's winning the race. Now, I don't know the validity of this data, but it's interesting. Anyway, Canada and the US attracting a few. But Australia winning, right? Number one, folks. We're number one in the world for attracting millionaires into our country. People leaving, millionaires leaving, and millionaires entering, right? And this is the definition of a high net worth individual. If we scroll in here, who are these people? As having over $1 million US, which is almost $2 million Australian, by the way. Yep, there you go. So what does that mean? Folks, tell me in the chat. Here we go. Like, get involved this morning. Get your fingers ready. 27 million people, 18 years early, whatever that means. We do know that our population has increased significantly in a short period of time. We'll talk about that in a minute. But also the ratio, and I've said this forever and a day, whether you like it or not, Australia's immigration population is very choosy. By and large, and basically it lets people in with money. That's what it does. Now, whether you agree with that or not, I'm not into that conversation. All I'm saying is this: if we've got millionaires coming to Australia, what are they going to do, folks? Put it in the chat. We've got record numbers of millionaires into Australia, bringing money, and we've got record population. There's records damn everywhere. I should do March Madness. A record a day keeps the property investor in play or something. I might do that actually for March. What's going on? What do you think that's going to happen? Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, Stephen, there's a temporary. Let's be really honest. Let's be really clear. There is a temporary borrowing issue, which will be solved within the next 2 years, folks, because the interest rates are going to go down. They're going to go down 1%, and then wages will go up a little bit, and rents have gone skyrocketing through. They level out, which is good. But you're dead right, Stephen. They have to have a decent income to do some borrowing if they're going to borrow. But here's the drill. This is what we don't. Yep, they'll buy expensive cars and expensive houses. You're dead right. You're dead right. And here's the interesting thing, though, folks. What do you reckon about some of these people? There's a lot of entering the country. Residential really in Brisbane. If you guys didn't know, the positive investment support business, done that for 21 years. Our residential agency through our property management arms, and part of that service, which is part of the cycle of life for many property owners and property investors, is an agency that can help you sell your property if you want to. Now that's kind of counterintuitive, but if you have to sell or it's part of your plan, then you want to do it well. So anyway, I digress. We are seeing in our residential agency in Brisbane every month someone come in and say, I'll buy that house or that apartment or that property, and they're paying cash, folks. They're paying cash. They don't need to borrow. They're just paying cash. And there is the largest transfer of wealth in Australian history underway right now. So there's lots going on. And any of these muppets out there telling you that there's going to be a collapse of some description have got their heads firmly up their rear end, and they don't know what they're talking about, especially when it comes to residential real estate. Now, commercial real estate's having a bit of an issue right now in certain places and spaces because of its yield, and the resetting valuations and all sorts of stuff. And that's not my specialty, that world. But it's having a real problem at the moment because its incomes are down, which means its values are down. And in commercial lending world, if your values are down and your loan to value ratio is out of sync with what you borrowed from the bank, then they do a margin call on you. That's why I dislike severely for most property investors who want something simple. I dislike, like with a passion, commercial, industrial, retail property for investment for, let's say, the first 1 to 5 properties that you own. Anyway, I digress again. I stay on track, Jason. There's a lot of millionaires. What's going to go on? You're dead right. They're going to buy houses. They're going to do stuff, right? Here's the drill, folks. Dwelling approvals. Now, this, and I'll put this in a bit later. Dwelling approvals down. Okay, down pretty significantly over the last little bit. The population growth, the bottom to the top, now 600,000 increase. Call it 700,000, right? And will stay high. 2 things in here that we need to understand. A significant amount of this population growth, call it 350,000. What demographic of that population growth, folks? Put this in the chat if you know. 350,000 of those come from a certain demographic or a certain type. Who are they? Put that in the chat. Do you know? So there's 2 different types here in the version of the world. Boom. Students. You're dead right, Jeff. Now, students. Now, stick with me here, Jeff, or anyone else. How long do students stay in the country for a typical degree. Work with me here. Work with me here. How long do they stay in the country for a typical degree? Students, right? They've actually got a lot of money, students, folks, I can tell you. And, you know, India and China and of countries love Australia, 4 years. So students for 4 years. So this amount, so God now is a bunch of students have come, but are not a lot of leaving. Okay. So we're going to have, it's going to be 5 years before the first cycle out. Okay. Follow me here. So that 350 is going to stay here for 5 years. Okay. So it wasn't here a moment ago. Now it is. It's been 18 months or so since that sort of started again. But, and then the 350,000 are cycling out. They haven't left yet. So we're restarting a cycle from COVID, right, folks? And now call it another 300,000 of permanent migration. And the permanent migration, they're skilled. They've got money. Okay. So only good news as far as I'm concerned from my position as a property investor. Maybe not great news for renters and other people who are on the other side of this coin, folks. So those students are around to stay. Approvals are down. What's even down worse, folks? Put it in the chat. What's even worse than approvals? Because I can tell you right now, approvals do not tell the bloody story. Right? They don't tell the damn story. I can tell you this because yes, approvals are down, and I believe approvals were at a 12-year, according to some details. There we go. Australian housing approvals sink to a 12-year low. 12-year low. That's approvals, but vacancy rates are down. Vacancy rates are the lowest we have had in history. 0.8. Folks, some of these cities, some of the capital cities in Australia are under 0.5% vacancy. Yeah, I mean, I keep saying it, and I have to stop and remind myself and you guys how insane that is. It's insane. That means there's nothing, and I mean nothing, to rent of any consequence on the market in cities like Adelaide, Perth, Brisbane. Nothing. Apartments, townhouses, houses, right? Like it's mind-blowing. And then you get these conversations with people going, oh, I don't know about property. I'm like, what? Yeah. I get a bit fired up. Anyway, folks, look, 12-year low. But the biggest issue is this. We've had 2 more major, huge builders collapse. Horrific start to 2024. Folks, the disaster, and I've been talking about it for 2 years, where we're in the middle of a living disaster that the government is ignoring. The government's ignoring it, and so are the media. They don't. The problem is with governments and media, they don't know. They have no idea what's going on, and they pretend they do. Anyway, I'm going to get fired up again. So, but what does that mean to us, folks? What does that mean to us as investors? What does it mean? All right. So there's a few things, right? So there's a cost push. Sam talked about this the other day. The cost push, every brand new property is going to be up in value 100 and maybe even 200K depending on where you are, all right? There's a 20 to 30% cost push from things that were built last year or the year before to the things that are going to be built next year and the year after, okay? Secondhand property, there's a few more coming on the market just because the interest rates have put a bit of pressure on people, but they are getting snapped up. Go and have a look at the data that came out of Sydney. You know, first home buyers paying $500,000 over the asking price to buy something for $1.8 million. Insane, folks. And then we've got record number of millionaires coming into the country. We've got record population in the last 2 years. We've got the lowest vacancy rates we've ever seen. We've got the worst construction industry. It's in chaos. Approvals at a 12-year low. Come on, seriously. Like, if you can buy a good piece of real estate or multiple pieces, bloody get your finger out, mate. I'm telling you right now, you're going to miss out big time if you can't. If you can and you don't. And if you can't, well, that's just life. You know, what you do own is going to get some uplift anyway. So there you go. Cost push. the approvals to actually construction, delivery, disaster, and vacancy rates lowest in history ever. Population up, et cetera, et cetera. So for me, for you, what's the takeaway, folks? The takeaway is this. There is, let's turn that off. The market, the pressures, the pieces of the puzzle that support and push values and rents are very, very fundamentally moving in our direction as owners of real estate. So get in if you haven't. And then if you have, make sure you hang in there because, I get it. Certainly interest rates are going up and it might be a little bit tougher to, take care of things. But don't let a small amount of time in reality, 1 or 2 years of maybe a little bit more restricted cash flow or lifestyle affect a long-term gain in your property portfolio, folks. And if you're feeling the pinch, go see your coaches and your brokers because they can reset things. They can unlock equity. They can, take you from principal and interest to interest only. They can reset all these things so you feel less pressure and you can hold your properties for the time that you need to. All right, folks, I've gone a little bit over today, but, always interesting things going on. Join me again tomorrow for another Wealth Coffee Chat, as always. Great to hang out with you. Thanks for taking the time. I think that's about it. We'll call it done and dusted, hey? All right, over and out, folks. Take care. Actually, you won't join me tomorrow because it's Saturday. I'm not going to do one on Saturday. A bit disorientated as well with my travel, but let's hang out on Monday. Hey, let's hang out Monday. All right, folks, that's it. Good on you. Yeah, that's right, Jeff. Good on you. All right, folks, that's it. I'm out. See ya. Have a good weekend. Bye now.